So looking at another scan, we have this green leather armchair, very smooth on the top here. So we want to make sure we capture enough views of these really glossy areas. But unfortunately, this was one of our first ring flash scans and we actually made a bit of a mistake. So looking at the heat map, we can already see without even looking at the cameras that there's a massive hole at the top. So there's a region here where we're never seeing light bouncing from the sort of top of the surface back towards the camera. And if we look at the camera distribution, we can see, there's a giant gaping hole at the top. So to sort of draw a cross section, there's regions here where a ray of light will bounce towards the surface of the chair and it will bounce straight up. And the same for this side, it will bounce down, bounce straight up again, and we're never going to capture that from a given point of view of camera. On the sides, we do, so there'll be regions here where the camera can see it and it'll bounce back towards the camera. But then there's also a bit of a hole here, so just on the front region here, and that's probably why we're seeing these stripes. There's areas where a ray of light's bouncing and then it's never returning, so we almost have like a blind spot, so to speak. If we then look at the predictions, we'll likely see this on the roughness channel. So I'm just going to go to the roughness and you can see it lines up perfectly. Like we have lovely kind of cracks and creases where you would expect to see the cracks and creases. As we go towards the center, then our predictions start to drift and we lose our ability to see what that roughness prediction is. And that's just because we're never seeing that ray of light bouncing from the surface of the object back towards the camera because of that hole. We also see it on the top here ever so slightly, and that's why we're getting this banding effect. That is a problem with our distribution, and it's why you might sometimes see lines appearing in some of your scans. So to fix that, we would recommend getting a few more pictures on these sides and definitely getting more pictures on the top. We've gone ahead and actually scanned a slightly different chair this time, still glossy leather, only this time we've gone ahead and actually captured a few more pictures over the top sections. We can see that this prediction is pretty much perfect. Like it's mostly blue, there's some bits of green, some bits of yellow coming through there. And if we look at the roughness, it's almost perfectly covered. You know, we've got really good spread here. And even though our predictions are slightly drifting in the way that they did on the other scan, where we haven't got enough camera views, this time it's still able to predict the details. So we are still getting a difference, only it's slightly drifting. And that's because we still haven't got perfect coverage, and this is a very glossy object. And if we look at the coverage of the cameras, we can now see this time there's a lot more cameras at the top. So all of the areas where light would go down, it's going to bounce back up to a camera and we're going to record that reflection. There is still definitely a hole. It might be a little bit hard to see, but there is definitely a hole here if I maybe hide the object. So there is a little bit of a pocket, and that's why there's probably regions here where we are missing the reflection ever so slightly. But for the most part, it is a lot better. And we can see that in the predictions themselves.